How I exposed my mother-in-law's custody conspiracy. 3 months after my wife died from cancer, my mother-in-law started going after me. She'd been staying with us to help with my 9-year-old daughter Megan, and at first I was thankful, but then Megan came to me twisting her hands together and said, "Daddy, why does Grandma keep asking when we're selling the house and moving somewhere cheap? That should have been my warning sign." The real trouble began when she called CPS herself, telling them I was neglecting Megan and leaving her home alone while I slept all day from depression. The caseworker, Ms. Lane, showed up with her clipboard already out and her pen clicking, and 2 days later my mother-in-law filed for emergency custody. I tried explaining I work from home, but Lane just kept her eyes on her notepad, scribbling away, and my chest got tight watching her write down whatever story she'd already decided was true. My lawyer Tom was the only one who believed my side of things. When I brought him the custody papers, I watched his eyebrows shoot up as he spread them across his mahogany desk. He kept pointing to different sections where my mother-in-law had brought up the life insurance trust fund 3 times in documents that were supposed to be about Megan's safety. Why would she keep mentioning money in papers about keeping Megan safe? Tom tapped the papers with his pen and said we needed to look deeper into her motivations. That's when pieces started falling into place. I bought a leather journal and started tracking everything after Ms. Lane's second surprise visit. The pattern was obvious once I started writing it down. Lane would show up unannounced with her clipboard, and somehow my mother-in-law's silver car would appear within minutes, every single time. She'd step out with her hand pressed over her heart, playing the worried grandmother perfectly. Tom's investigator changed everything when he slid that manila folder across the desk. My mother-in-law owed $200,000 in tax liens. The dates made my stomach drop. Filed just 2 months before she called CPS on me. Then she went for the kill. She dragged Megan to the school nurse, pointing at a purple bruise from last weekend's bike accident like she discovered something terrible. The nurse had to report it. That afternoon, Ms. Lane called with ice in her voice. She was considering immediate removal. Too many concerns were piling up, she said. During her next visit, my mother-in-law stationed herself in my doorway with her arms crossed, shaking her head sadly and dabbing at eyes that were completely dry. I wanted to scream. The next day changed everything. My mother-in-law thought I was at a doctor's appointment downtown, but I'd canceled last minute. I was upstairs working when I heard her voice through the window. My neighbor Carol was in her garden pruning roses and heard it all too, clear as day. My mother-in-law had Megan on the front porch, gripping her small shoulders. "Tell them Daddy sleeps all day and you feel scared," she was saying. Megan kept backing away, shaking her head. My mother-in-law's voice got harder. "Just say exactly what Grandma taught you." Carol grabbed a receipt from her pocket and wrote it all down. She came straight to my door after my mother-in-law's car disappeared around the corner. Tom pulled the smoking gun from Discovery. My mother-in-law's lawyer had kept handwritten notes from their first meeting. The dates stopped me cold. 3 days before she claimed she first found Megan alone. The notes detailed her questions about becoming trustee through guardianship. Could she argue I shouldn't control both? The lawyer had written it plain as day. Client very focused on trust fund access. 2 thick underlines beneath it. The emergency hearing combined both cases. I watched my mother-in-law walk in wearing her church pearls, clutching a handkerchief like she was the victim here. Tom called Carol to testify, and she read from the receipt she'd written that day, repeating my mother-in-law's exact words about coaching Megan. The judge's pen stopped moving, and his jaw tightened as my mother-in-law's face went white. She whispered about being worried and wanting to keep Megan safe, but Tom laid out the timeline with his finger tracking across the documents. The judge's eyes narrowed at the lawyer's underlined notes, then asked Ms. Lane if she'd verified any claims independently, and her face flushed as she shook her head. The judge's gavel came down hard. Custody denied. Full control to me. The trust fund locked until Megan turned 18. I watched my mother-in-law's face crumble as each word hit her. Her hands shook, gathering her purse, and for a second I almost felt bad. Almost. She could only write letters now, and I'd read them first. At the ice cream shop after court, Megan pressed against my side and whispered, "I'm glad Grandma can't make me lie anymore, Daddy."